We should tell people that we now have a Patreon account.
Hey everyone, we have a Patreon account now.
Thank you. He's really good at those.
Yeah.
But I give you the setup.
Ellis with the plug.
But
Hey, guys.
with the Patreon, you can help support us, help us keep making this podcast. And not only that, you get a bonus episode each month and lots of other things. You'll have to go there and look at the tiers because I can't remember them all. But you just go to patreon.com/friendsfromfilmschool. Check it out, and we'll see you there. I read about a conspiracy last night about Stephen Hawking. No, it really was Stephen Hawking, and it said that he died before he died.
Boyhood's a conspiracy.
No, it said Stephen Hawking was replaced. I'm not kidding.
When he
By a
died
robot?
or before
No,
he died?
like he died a long time ago, and they replaced him.
Well, they didn't do a good job.
I know, right?
Damn.
It was after, but it was after he was already like, whatever. What did he have? ASL.
Yeah.
This is gonna sound really terrible, but like,
But
do you
say
think
it anyway.
that they put him in a wheelchair and like gave him all of those problems, like the robot or whatever, to hide all of the like imperfections of the robot?
It wasn't a robot. It was a person.
Oh,
Look. See, they've got these
I went a
pictures,
whole different route.
and they're saying
He's a different person.
yeah, they're like compare.
Do they not realize what that
What the
disease
people-
does?
Yeah, I don't think so. That people age and they also have ALS. Did I say ASL? ALS.
Yeah. I agreed with whatever you said.
Whatever
so
it was.
We're in the
Letters.
same boat.
Letters are just, they get mixed up. Their argument was like his survival time for ALS is 4 years, or the average, sorry. And when he was first diagnosed in 1963, doctors gave him 2 years to live, and yet here we are. This article also came out while he was still alive, so it sounds a lot worse now, I feel like.
I guess that they could just
It's like, yet here we are 52 years later in counting.
Did they not understand that, like, sometimes people defy the odds?
Yeah, exactly.
or they just found someone who couldn't speak for themselves because they had this disease, put him in the chair, and then he was forced to just whatever they said he was saying, he just had to accept because he had no say in it.
Well,
Who's they?
yeah.
It is the government.
Big science.
Yeah,
Yes,
actually,
big science.
Let me get to that.
Big
'cause
pharma.
There was a thing in here about that. So, to your point, Brad, they did say that he defied the odds for about 20 years, but at some point he was replaced. Okay? Just not the full 52 that he defied the
they
odds.
couldn't believe 52 years,
Right.
but they're like 20's probably the cutoff.
Yeah.
Of
So they said, I have no proof he died, but I assume that is why they replaced him.
perfect.
So, he was, okay, here's the point. This is what I wanted to say. He was a very useful public relations entity for physics. For physics, like, physics is an entity that's out there, like, looking for public relations.
Needing good public
Yeah,
relations.
needing representation.
Physics for a long time has had some bad PR, you know.
Yeah.
The nuclear attacks and
They're going through
all
a
the
rebranding.
Yeah.
the Cold War. They just need to.
I don't know
You
how I
looked up.
found this.
Have you heard the one about Avril Lavigne being a clone? Or they replaced her?
I think I have heard that.
It's kind of like the Paul McCartney. Like,
Who do they think, why? Do they have a reason?
I don't remember why, but it was something like 2002, 2003. They replaced her or something.
Whoa.
What if like
They couldn't believe anybody would marry that dude from Nickelback. So they were like, she must be a clone.
oh, that's really sad. But what if like you were a
It's
clone?
complicated.
Sorry.
What if like you got cloned and your family, so you died, but then your family paid a lot of money to get a clone made of you, but you don't know that you're a clone. And so now you're living the same life, and
I feel like
everyone
that
else
story's
is just
never been
hush,
told.
hush.
I can't believe you figured it out for the first
Crack
time.
the code.
Wait, so what's the question? Like, what would I want to know?
You're a clone.
This is how you told me.
It's not a question, Luke. It's a fact.
It's a coming out.
You choose to tell me while we're recording a podcast?
Yes.
Would you want to know, or would you want to just live blissfully ignorant?
I don't think I'd care either way, honestly. If I died and then they paid enough money to bring me back as a clone, I'd be like, well, that's really thoughtful of them. I
No.
guess they liked my original
It's,
me a lot.
No, my question, I mean, like, would you want to know you're a clone?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't care.
Did you see Living with Yourself?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a good show.
Yeah.
But no,
'Cause I feel like it would mess me up.
yeah, exactly. I think knowing I was a clone would be, because here's the thing, dude. Like, imagine you wake up tomorrow and like your dad calls you and he's like, "Hey, come over. I meant to tell you something recently."
Well,
I've been
okay. So
I've been
here's
meaning to tell you
if,
this. Sorry.
If the original me is still alive, then there's a problem.
Well, okay, but
Like
even-
living with yourself.
right. But even if you're not, right? Imagine you're like your.
It's like
parents
your
sit-
memories are implanted. You never really experienced it.
But you think they're real, so like all this time.
So your childhood's completely fake to you.
I wouldn't care.
I mean, of course you wouldn't care. I understand.
But
you
he's
don't
a
process. Yeah.
He's
yeah.
a nihilist, man.
I mean, at least it's an ethos. Okay?
Yeah, but if that happened to me or any other like normal person,
Thank you.
they would be. I think they would be upset.
I mean, what
Keyword here: normal.
I'm still a clone, so technically they are still my memories. They were just my other me's memories. So it's not like really a big deal. It's
But
like whatever.
Okay, well, you just didn't experience them. I
You're
guess.
you're what big cloning wants.
Yeah, he's
The guy that doesn't care either way.
I mean, if they want to test out cloning and make another me, let's do it. Let's see what
like
happens.
he's like the most detached person in the world. So
Would
it'd be
you,
perfect.
if there is a clone of yourself out there, would you want to meet them?
Mm,
And here's the question. Think back to living with yourself. It's a more like idealized version of yourself.
yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
I think it would that would be annoying.
He's like a better at everything, more handsome. He's always like
it would be
knows
more.
what to say.
It would be more annoying though, because they would just get in the way of like your normal stuff, like your everyday life, and that would be annoying. So that's why I'd want to make sure that they're dead.
Okay. What about like doppelgangers? You know, you hear about that a lot, where there's somebody out there that probably.
Oh, that's a good question.
That
Do
looks
you
like-
believe that there's
I don't know.
somewhere out in the world there's
Here's what I
people
think.
that look
That'd
like
be pretty cool.
I think there's a good chance that at some point in history, someone probably has or will exist that looks really close to you. Like, because you always see, like, that's how those like theories about Keanu Reeves and stuff like that come up, because it's like, oh, we found this old photo that looks just like someone from today, because it's like genetics. It's like there's only so many different types of humans.
Only
Isn't it-
trillions of different combinations.
But still, though, there's
it's
only a
like-
few still
I
though.
feel like there's archetypes too. That's
Yeah.
the one thing I've learned, like getting out of high school and moving away from a small town. You meet and you're talking about people that
Yeah.
almost like fit that same stereotype. You know,
Exactly.
Look, the simulation only had so much under the character customization tab.
Exactly.
You gotta let them get in an update, all
Right, because that's the thing. It's like there's only so many different versions. I mean, obviously, there's billions and billions of
I
different
feel like people
but
just think, like only listening to this podcast, that we only make movies and we talk about like the craziest conspiracy theories.
Well, now I'm just really pissed off that the person who made me didn't give me like beard power. Like, why would you
Well,
willingly choose that? Was there like
so okay, you meet the other
is there a
idealized.
pro and con?
the idealized you has got a huge beard.
Yeah.
Oh, that would make me. I would definitely kill him at that point.
Okay, that was my question.
You come in that we find Ellis. He's like shaving the beard off of a dead version of himself and taping it on. Yeah, we're like, what have you done? Then we don't know if it's the real Ellis or not. Well, I guess we would, because
We
he's
would,
shaving
because
the beard. The beard.
it would be falling off.
Well, there'd also be the body on the ground, but I guess that would be.
Well, no, but I mean, at first I was thinking which one's which, but we know from the beard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clones, man.
They've cloned like sheep, right?
I think so.
Like
There's that what is it called, Dolly?
yeah,
Back in the late 90s.
Dolly Parton's a clone.
Dolly Parton's a clone.
You heard
You
it
heard it
here
here first.
dude. Brad's the clone of me. Hold on. What about the mouse that has the ear on its back? What was that?
Wait, what?
No, I don't
I
know
like
what
how
you're
you
talking
just
about.
like prefaced it like we knew what you were talking about. You're like, yeah, what's up with that?
It's science, dude. Mouse has ear on back.
What about the lady? I'm gonna do the same thing Luke did. That like regrew like a finger off of her stub, but it had like 3 extra joints.
I don't know.
All right,
I
guys.
thought you were about to be like red rum.
How do you say that word? Is that like Vicanti?
The Vicanti Mouse?
The Vicanti Mouse was a laboratory mouse circa 1996 that had what looked like a human ear grown on its back. The ear mouse, as it became known, was created by... Well, so what looked like a human ear? I want to know if it was a real ear.
So that sounds like some
That's a photo, yeah. Let's see.
World War II experiments gone wrong or something.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Oh.
Because I knew it,
gross.
I knew it because there was an album cover back in the day, and I forget who the band was, but they had that on there.
That did a really good job growing on that mouse.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive.
2 types of people, man. I was like, that's
Ew.
so gross, and you're like, wow. Look at science.
I like to see what science can do.
The ear was actually an ear-shaped cartilage structure grown by seeding cow cartilage cells into biodegradable ear-shaped mold and then implanted under the skin of the mouse.
Oh, then it's like a fake ear because they made a mold for it. That's
Yeah.
lame.
With an why'd they do that? With an external ear-shaped
Dude.
splint to maintain the desired shape.
What?
Oh, well, that's super lame. Okay,
So it was more,
not as cool.
It was probably like a publicity stunt.
Then the cartilage naturally grew by itself within the restricted shape and size. The splint was removed briefly to take the publicity pictures.
Do you think that mouse got made fun of by all the other mouse for having an ear on his back?
Or he was a god.
Or he was a god?
You gotta suck to be like a mouse and just be used in science experiments.
Unless
all the
you're a
time.
mouse that gets superpowers. You're like the first one that like gets all the superpowers
Dude,
and stuff.
we're giving away all of our good movie ideas right here. Well, it looks like it was basically to see if they could like, what was it saying? Seeding like this cartilage into another thing or whatever. So I think there was a scientific reason, not just a publicity stunt. I guess, you know.
I'm a scientist. I'm an artist. I just make gruesome stuff.
Yeah.
That's weird.
That made me think of what was that documentary we watched about the big publicity stunt to go to space, but they were in like the
Spaceship Earth.
Yeah.
That
was cool.
Yeah.
They basically lived in like a biodome, which I didn't know it was like a real thing.
Is that what we were talking about the other day, where it was like in the desert and they had to live in
Yeah.
it for like 2 years or something?
Yeah.
And then someone cut their hand and they left, came back with a bunch of supplies.
Yeah.
Oh, that's lame.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole thing was a little bit of a sham because they were having to there was no way they could live off of the air they had in there. They had to like pump air in and all this stuff that just wasn't actually working. Like, so if they were actually in space, they would be all dead, you know?
Yeah.
So it wasn't working.
Well,
It
that
was,
defeats the
cool.
purpose.
It was cool, but to me, and I think when we talked about it, I made this point that it's like the documentary was so on the side of the people who participated in it. It never showed like any of the other side. And I felt like it was a little too biased, and it kind of hurt the movie because it never felt like there was too much conflict.
I wanted to see like a full meltdown because there had to be people like going insane in there.
Yeah.
Like, think about
But all of them were like, man, I miss it. It was like the best 2 years
That's
of my
true.
life.
They all did say that, but I was just thinking like people being stuck in quarantine. Imagine being stuck in a biodome with like the same 5 people for 2
It'll
years.
probably be all right. I don't talk to a lot of people anyways.
I guess the place was pretty big, so I guess you could go wherever you wanted within the dome.
I think the craziest thing to me was they gave up on like they couldn't have any like processed food, so everything they had was like they would make cakes for each other for everyone's birthdays, and then
Out of like vegetables.
Yeah, it was like vegetables, like what is it, sweet potato, like icing and stuff like that. Like they got really creative with it, and they said they loved it, but you know, they were probably like much better in shape because of it.
Yeah.
Except for
Not having-
when they were running out of air and stuff, they all got really pretty sick. 'Cause
Yeah.
they were like so skinny because they had lost all this weight, and then they got to the point where they couldn't walk like 10 feet without like sitting down and huffing because they had so much carbon. What is
Yeah.
it? Carbon dioxide, monoxide. What do we breathe out?
Dioxide.
Whatever we breathe out, carbon dioxide.
Science.
Science. This is the science episode, guys.
I would rather do that though for 2 years than be on something like Naked and Afraid.
Yeah.
I would take the 2 year time in a capsule than do like however long Naked and Afraid is.
Me too. I don't think I could last a day on Naked and Afraid.
No, it
Now,
sounds awful.
if you had clothing on, Would that?
No, that wouldn't change it at all. You're out in the woods. That
Okay.
sucks.
Yeah, I don't think I can.
They're
make
like,
it.
let me go drop you off in the Amazon rainforest.
But
We're
these
gonna
people are like technically out in the woods.
well,
but they do have shelter.
they have like an entire building and like foods that are and vegetables and places to sleep that are comfy.
Yeah.
There's no bugs. The bugs are the worst part.
I think they might have brought in bugs. Honestly,
Maybe in like.
Well, whoever
they,
did that's just evil.
They had like a rainforest area, but they did sleep in. Like,
they did like a
beds.
Noah's Ark style thing of like bringing in species to populate
If you're gonna,
each environment.
if I'm going to Mars and I'm like, I want to start life on Mars, I'm not gonna be like, let me just bring flies, mosquitoes, like just all the worst creatures that I could from Earth and like populate this new like space. with
Okay, we populate Mars. What's the first animal that you think is going to be there?
them. Probably cows, because then you can just kill them and eat them.
Not sponsored by PETA.
Not sponsored by cows.
That's protein. If you're having to like live on Mars and you're in extreme conditions, you're gonna need sustenance.
You think before like dogs for companions?
I thought you were
No,
gonna
because
eat the dog
a,
for a
dog,
second.
a dog is another mouth to feed. That wouldn't make any sense at all.
That's true. Okay.
Yeah, you can't take companions to Mars.
Exactly. You have to be very economical.
You
with
know what
you're
companion
bringing.
you get? An AI. He's gonna be
Yeah.
a robot that talks to you.
You might actually get fake meat too, so you might not even get cows. It'll be like that plant-based meat.
We'll probably be growing meat.
Or
Yeah.
artificial meat.
Yeah. Well, they grow it in a lab.
It's like a tree that has like a ribeye just hanging off of it, off the branch. And you can just pick it. You
Or
cook
I imagine it growing almost like a petri dish. You know, they put all these
Yeah.
things in there, and it grows over time into like a meat steak, like a steak of.
I want it to be like
wanna try that.
Back to the Future 2, which I know you haven't seen, but
Microwave stuff.
you put it in the microwave and then it like microwaves and the whole meal comes out and you pull out like a rotisserie chicken.
Oh,
like-
they did that in what's that? Fifth Element was kind of like
Oh
that.
yeah.
I was thinking Star Trek with like the replicator when you hit the button and it just
yeah.
like makes the food right there.
Oh, okay.
The nerdy
I
episode.
did your joke.
I know you did. I need my glasses. I found out that they sell those glasses that do the like sheen or whatever. You can buy those, so when you push it up, it like makes it where you can't see the eyes, and it lights up with like an LED to do that dumb like anime like thing.
Oh.
Right? You know what I'm talking
That's
about.
it.
I
They
know what
sell
you're
it.
They sell those glasses, so when you push it up, the lenses get covered with like a white LED thing, so it does the effect.
What's the point of that?
I don't.
Just for a
it's
joke?
It's for the joke. You'll do it one time. And be
How
like, I don't need
expensive
these.
is it?
It's like $30 or something.
Wow.
Okay, that's
That's kind of like
that's a little pricey for a stupid joke.
Yes.
that's kind of like we saw those like real life thug life video glasses. Remember?
Yeah.
The other day.
I can't believe anyone would ever buy those and wear those.
I was gonna get some, but never mind. Not anymore. I changed my mind.
Glasses are dumb, man.
Yeah, dude, who would wear glasses?
Yeah.
Ellis chooses to wear glasses.
I actually do.
What if you
well,
went when you
okay.
went to the eye doctor and they told you, "Hey, man, your eyes are perfect. You are now the eye doctor."
He hands me his lab coat. I'm like,
Yeah, Ellis has better eyes than an eye doctor, so that's perfect.
yeah.
Perfect
They
vision.
told me I had 2015 vision, which is better than 2020.
Everything's better than 2020.
Yes,
we learned that.
yes, we did. And he said that I would never like need glasses as long as I lived. I was like, oh, cool.
Dude, I'm gonna stab you in the eye. So that
They don't
you-
need an eye patch. I don't need an eye like glasses at that point.
No, I'm gonna only stab you like on the very outer layer of the eye, so that it just damages it, and then you're like, oh man, I really got to get glasses now.
Oh, I want to get a robotic eye instead at that point.
Yeah,
One that can like record. So there's like a camera inside the eyeball.
and
Wouldn't
then
that be crazy?
yeah, would you watch your memories?
I don't. Maybe. I guess it'd be like a permanent POV.
Where
like,
does the SD card go?
Oh, dude,
man.
I got a question.
Up your nose, up the butt.
oh, but just
Up the butt for
it
sure.
would. It
but-
would be like the car thing. Like the dash
Backup
cam. Yeah, and like it would be in your eyeball. It would be a dash cam in your eyeball.
What? Okay, so if you can watch your memories back, would you watch like traumatic things that happened to you? Would you go back and watch a bad fight with someone or
No,
something terrible that happened?
no, because that would just make me sad.
See, I thought that was going to be the other answer. I thought
Yeah.
he would be like, I wouldn't care.
Yeah. What about you?
Would I watch stuff?
Yeah. Would you go back and watch something terrible that happened to you?
I mean, define terrible.
I don't
Like
know. It could be
emotionally terrible, or
anything.
like
Somebody died. You saw something horrible happen. Someone you got in a fight.
Why would you want to re-experience that?
Yeah, that's
I
that's my
don't think
question.
I don't think I would do like traumatic stuff.
I bet there's people that would. I mean, there's
Oh, yeah.
people watch weird stuff, and if you could go back and relive, I bet there'd be therapeutic reasons for it. Like,
Sure.
because they make you relive stuff in therapy, like where you have to act out something that happened between you and, like, I don't know, like a parental figure or something. And
Well, that's sad.
you have to keep doing the scene or whatever until it no longer
Wow,
affects
therapy
you.
sounds like it sucks.
Yeah.
Therapy's like an expensive improv class
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
that you dread going to.
yeah, that sounds awful.
Sorry,
I
we
wouldn't
just,
want to go
we
to
just
that.
offended millions of
Yeah.
people, but but yeah, I think people would.
Have you ever
watch.
been to therapy? I've never
Me?
been.
Oh
so-
yeah, for sure.
I've never
to
been.
therapy. Yeah, I've been, but it was like drug counseling and stuff like that. So.
Yeah. Dang.
But like, I feel like I could use therapy.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I have lots of anxiety and stuff. I feel like I could go and
Sort
have-
that
yeah,
out.
dude, they have them online now too. You could just call in and be like, and then they screen record it and they put it out on the internet.
What if there was like a drug that you just pop the pill in, and then like for 24 hours you just no longer feel it, like it makes you basically happy and like only happy, but you can't experience any other like emotion for
That's
like
called
the day.
ecstasy.
That is true. Just think about that.
That's like most drugs. Yeah, it's a temporary fix.
Well, then hear me out. Hear me out. What if there was a drug that you never felt anything other than bliss?
Yeah, heroin.
Wow. Okay. I should have thought out that question a little
You
better.
did.
Was the question going to be like, would you take it so that you could feel happiness for
I mean,
24 hours?
I was trying to think of like a pro and con. So it's like if you experience happiness, you lose out on this. So it's kind of like
It
a
would definitely
balance.
be cons all the way.
Yeah.
Because like once you start doing that, then it's like
It's drugs.
then you would just be addicted to that drug, whatever that drug was, and then also you would never be able to like feel happy again without it. Probably.
What if
or
it
like
was-
for a long time you'd be messed up.
What if it was a government issued drug and you were forced to
Even
take
worse.
Yeah.
Even
it?
worse.
And you're like you were forced to live in this blissful state all the time, and the government
That's
forced
like
you.
that little
This
stop
man-
motion thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What was that called? Smile or it's a little stop motion. I think I showed it to you. The
We
guys
watched it before.
the guys wear the goggles, the happy goggles. Remember? Sorry, I got too excited.
No.
Oh man.
We watched it before working on the Change My Heart video.
Yeah, we definitely did. But Ellis,
I probably wiped it away from my memory.
stop motion, like,
I have to see it. It's like if you talk
Dystopian.
about it, I might not.
and remember we watched it. The guy was like talking to a class. And I'm like, there it is. More.
The one I remember is like the Taco Bell one.
Mark Osborne made it. It's called
What's in
More.
the Taco Bell one?
It's called More. Look. Remember this?
Just like skip like halfway
I
in.
gotta get into this thing. But it's really cool. Remember these guys?
Dude, I never watched this.
What?
Whoa.
Are you sure that I didn't go home? Like, and you guys watched it after the fact? Because I never
Never
saw
mind.
this.
We do that a lot. So
We might have.
A lot.
And you guys are like, oh, you just have like terrible memory.
we have-
It's like you watched it and I'm gone.
we have like whole conversations, and I'm like, "Yeah, Ellis, do you remember that?" And or I'm just talking to you. You're not even here.
Yeah. I never saw that in my life.
Are you sure?
Yes,
dude?
I promise.
Huh.
You don't remember these things? They wore these happy goggles.
I never saw that. Because,
Are you sure you don't remember?
yes. If you show me a video, I'll be able to pick up on it and be like, I do remember that, but I've never seen that.
Are you a visual learner?
Do you remember that time we watched that video that both of you guys lied and said that you never saw with me?
We never watched that. Is that the thing with the ink blot or whatever?
Yes.
That-
Yeah.
no.
The blood or whatever is
Yeah.
floating into the like cocaine powder.
No, I'm pretty sure you made that up.
I
So upset by that. I watched like 100 videos trying to find it to prove you guys wrong, but
That's
I
a grudge, man.
can't.
You gotta let it go.
I think it happened in another reality or something.
I feel like that happens a lot.
I must have watched it on my own then.
Maybe. Because, like, you guys are always like, okay, so now I'm starting to think that it's just because I'm not in the room anymore. And you guys are like, yes, we watched that. But before, I was like, maybe that was another reality where, like, we watched it and I just don't remember because I went to another one.
Or a lot of times you really just don't remember.
That is true.
That's also the case.
It's like if you say stuff to me, sometimes it can go, like, in and out. But if I see it,
perfect.
then I can, like... If I see it or I do it, then I can remember it.
Good to know. We're gonna have to start being like, Ellis,
Show me pictures.
Yeah,
You
gotta repeat it back to us.
When we're on set, you gotta like have like photos of what you want me to do. Just hold it up.
It's like a light. It's a light stand. You're like, it's a light stand.
We're playing charades.
Yeah. So like before we go to a shoot, we go through all these cards teaching you what they mean.
Yeah.
The rubber duck means move the light to the left.
That's like what they do with like gorillas when they teach them sign language and stuff.
I was thinking like how all the football teams, they'll like try to hide their plays from other teams.
Yeah.
So they'll hold up like the cue card, and it'll be like some code and the quarterback knows. But,
Yeah.
The other people are like, I don't know what this triangle means. Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
I don't know. It's weird. Like if it's a computer, I understand it like immediately.
Because you're
like,
a robot.
Maybe, I don't know. But like if I read something from like some computer code or something, or like some sort of like concept about computer stuff, I'm like, oh, I got it. That's easy.
So do you think you're closer to computer than human?
Maybe. I want my chip. I'm ready for it. We're gonna talk about it every episode.
I know. One day you're just gonna get like a phone call where they're like, "Go to this address if you want the Neuralink."
And it's some guy trying to murder you. They're going to take you as a fool to get the Neuralink, and they kill you in the back alley.
Hey, what was the name?
Got dark. I'm sorry.
It's okay. What was the
Only
name
wins there.
That app you said that would like take your intention and put a?
Oh, that was Randonautica. Yeah, I wouldn't. That's some scary stuff though.
I'm looking it up.
No, please don't.
Randonautica. So it says it's a video game. Is that an accurate representation of what it is?
I don't know. You're supposed to just think of an intention, and then it gives you a GPS point from your location, and you're supposed to go to it, and it takes you to your intention.
Don't people find dead bodies with it?
They did find a suitcase that had a dead body in it, and then they also found. It was actually
Wow.
like a news thing too, because like they called the local authorities and there was a bunch of news articles and stuff on it.
Dang.
It was a suitcase?
It was a suitcase that had a cut up dead body in it.
Like, you can fit a whole body in there?
Yeah.
In pieces?
I'll show you the video later.
No, I don't want to see that.
It's pretty scary because another guy went out into the woods and then like there was a little girl's voice that showed up because he was focusing on like evil or something, and then it was like, do you want to play a game or something?
Okay. This says, an app that generates coordinates for adventurers claims to turn your thoughts into reality. TikTok and YouTube creators want you to believe it, but you shouldn't. So, what do you say to that?
I mean, I don't know. It's scary stuff.
Okay, well, the app led one person to a friendly dog in the desert.
I mean, I guess if you only think of happy stuff, then it's fine.
And another to a field of wildflowers. One young woman, after making her college decision, followed the app to a field where her school's initials had been mowed into the grass. What? Get out of here.
So.
That can't be real. And then there were the friends who followed the app to a suitcase full of human remains.
Yep.
Wow. That is the gamble one takes with Randonautica, which claims to channel users' intentions to produce nearby coordinates for exploration. Think the law of attraction meets geocaching. That's just insane. Obviously, it's not really taking your intentions.
Hey, man, you think what you want to think.
You think it's picking up your intentions? No. Okay.
Absolutely not.
We don't mess with ghost stuff.
Randonautica makes a few asks of users. What would you like to get? Choose your entropy source before prompting them to focus on your intent while it fetches coordinates. This process relies on location settings and a random number generator, which, despite what the company says, cannot be directly affected by human thoughts. Oh, according to this article.
Yeah, but have you ever thought that maybe it could?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I have thoughts and then things happen.
You guys just aren't believers. Because this is an app that was created by the creators of the simulation.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, it works.
Exactly. They're giving you coordinates to stuff that they're making on the fly. They're just like throwing into like the simulation.
Right. That definitely works then. Because
Yes,
they know what you're thinking.
Exactly.
Why didn't you say that?
I mean, I didn't think I had to, but
This sounds like an interesting article that I'm going to have to read later.
Yep.
great.
Going to prove you wrong. I always wonder with like all of our commercial work and stuff, if anyone ever like tries to think who's editing this, or if people just think we all three of us have like a hand in it.
I don't think anyone ever thinks that.
No one thinks about it ever. That's what I was going to say too. Yeah.
I didn't know.
Here's hoping.
No one's like in the car is like, man, I wonder who did this one.
Do you think it would? Yeah. No. Unfortunately, no one's thinking that hard about us. But you know, if they were, they'd
I'm
probably
bummed.
have a hard time telling though.
Yeah.
Which was which.
Because like even like people who are like super famous in YouTube, I don't wonder which one like edited like
That's
the
true.
video.
Yeah, that's
I'm just like, this is a cool video, and I just watch it.
That's a valid point.
So like Corridor Digital, you're never like thinking
No,
which one of those dudes.
I
cut
just
something.
watched the video and I'm like, wow, that was entertaining. I like this.
Yeah, that's a valid
well,
point.
now I'm bummed.
You really
I
bursted
really
his bubble.
want people to go, Brad has a signature style.
I mean, maybe if there was like someone who was analyzing us like 100 years from now, and they're like dissecting
Yeah.
the company and stuff.
Yeah.
Like
Dude.
when the aliens find these records, like nothing else survives except for our podcast and our work.
That would be insane.
So they have to go through it, and they're trying to figure out the human experience from things that we've done. or
Well,
said.
they'll also find ET buried in the desert, so
Yeah.
that'll be their reference
video
is
game.
ET and our podcast.
Oh,
Do you know about that?
E.T. was buried in the desert.
The
Supposedly.
Atari game.
The original Atari ET that like was
Which
shipped
is-
with the Atari console,
It's notoriously known as like one of the worst video games of all time.
and it did so bad that they like took all the remaining copies and drove out to like the Nevada desert and just buried them in the ground.
Apparently, that's what destroyed. Like, this is before Nintendo made the Nintendo Entertainment System, but it's pretty much killed the gaming industry because like they were
Really?
moving from arcades into home entertainment with the Atari, and that game was like so bad, tied to this massive blockbuster movie,
Yeah.
and it was just horrible. And they mass produced so many copies, and no one bought it, and the video game industry crashed. And then it wasn't until Nintendo came around that
They really
kind of
saved
brought
it.
the
So who
rise.
took it out to the desert to bury them? Like,
maybe Atari.
So,
I don't know.
supposedly they got buried in the desert. There's still like it's like a myth in like gaming history.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did watch a interesting documentary about.
Did you watch
some of
the
that
high
stuff.
score one?
I don't know, but what you were just saying reminded me of. I watched something where they talked about how the video game industry had tanked, and then in the early '90s it started to like come back.
Yeah,
slowly.
late 80s.
What do you
early
think would have happened if like Nintendo didn't bring it back and like it had just stayed a dead art? Do you think it would have just stayed dead
I don't think
forever?
people would have viewed it as art at that point.
Yeah.
Well, unless it had some sort of like revival. Yeah.
Do you think it would have affected like the movie industry though? Because all of the like techniques and stuff that are being used nowadays is like really being borrowed from like.
Like CGI and stuff. Huh.
Yeah, but of course, I think that they borrowed those from the movie industry first, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like
Yeah.
a back and forth. I feel like a give and take because they steal a lot of like their cinematic styles and stuff. From,
Right,
like, the
or
movie
even
industry.
just that 3D like modeling type stuff. I think they weren't doing until like they did those early movies, testing it out, and
That's a good
Jurassic
question.
Park and all that.
Because I wonder, like, if Pixar would have existed, if like,
I mean, they were around that time.
I thought that the guy came from something else though that founded Pixar. I can't remember what, but I thought he came from like the gaming industry. Maybe I'm totally
I don't
wrong.
think so. At least from what I've read.
What about
Because they were in like the hardware industry. They used to be owned by Lucasfilm, and I forget exactly what they were making, but they transitioned from making like actual machines to making movies.
Yeah, he did. He came from, or they split off from Lucasfilm. You're right, and then brought in Ed Catmull. Oh, that makes sense. This is kind of nerdy, but there's a rendering engine in Blender that's like the Catmull someone else's name engine.
Lassner.
And that makes sense because this guy's the one that founded Pixar, and
he was the president for a while. He has a really good book that I I read a few years ago, kind of
Oh,
about
yeah.
how they started Pixar, and I think it's called Creativity Inc.
Have you ever seen the first like Pixar short?
Yeah, I think so. I think I've
Wall-E.
watched it before. Yeah.
Or not Wall-E, but
I was like, wait,
it's like
we watched it in that class,
yeah,
right?
it's the toy soldier, and then there's the bee.
Yeah, the
I
bee.
think the bee's the first
I remember
one.
the bee.
I want to say it's called like
It was Tin
Wall-E
Toy.
Bee.
That was it, right?
Tin Toy might have been the first one.
Oh, was that the first one? I remember the bee.
Yeah,
What was the bee one?
I don't remember.
The bee.
it's like Wall-E and the bee, I think.
Wait, not the
Red
bee movie.
Dream, 1987. There's a clown. There's the bee. The
What
Adventures of Andre and Wally B.
Wall-E bee. There you go.
Yeah, that was that one. But
I
there
was
was
like, thought you were talking like Wall-E.
Yeah,
Like,
no.
Wall-E.
oh, that one was 1984. Why are they like out of order by date? That's annoying. I think it.
So who was the first? What was
uh,
the first one?
it looks like it might be Wally and the Bee because that was 84, and I don't see anything that was.
And Tin Toy was what?
That was like 88. 88.
I want to say Tin Toy might have been what won them the like short film Oscar or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
and really made Toy Story kind of start.
Oh, I remember. You remember the snow globe one?
Mm-hmm.
I remember that one. That was a good one. Yeah, it was Wally B. It looks like.
Gotcha.
Dang, that's cool.
84. So I mean, when did the video game industry crash then?
Let's see.
How about this one, Ellis? The Dire Straits video.
Money for nothing.
I love that song.
Did you ever see that video? That was like one of the early CG things.
Whoa.
Good lord. It was a video game crash of 1983.
83. So Pixar was happening.
That was around the same time. So they probably would have continued on.
Yeah.
And then I think that games would have came back regardless from the evolution of like Pixar and stuff.
Did you ever see this? This was like early like 3D modeling CGI stuff. And
Wow.
yeah. We could probably throw this on screen, not have the music, but
Man, I can make this in like
I
2
want
seconds.
my empty. Yeah, now, but imagine
Yeah.
back then.
They were probably
Yeah,
like, dude, this is awesome.
The rendering power probably was like insane. They were probably dying waiting on this thing to render.
Yes, dude. It probably took like 3 weeks
and they
to
only
make this happen.
see they just did it for the intro, and then the rest I think was hand drawn stuff, right?
Probably. Yeah.
Was the Take On Me, was that all hand drawn?
Yeah, that was like
I think so,
rotoscoping.
yeah.
Dude, I miss when they did like real rotoscoping and like hand drawing, and you know,
I mean, but that was like the most
That was cool.
painstaking, like,
that was cool stuff though.
I mean, like they just found ways to do it easier.
It would be really cool if we could make a legit like stop motion animation. I don't think that we'd
We
need
have-
like an animator to do it with
Yeah,
us. You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
we'd need, if there's a stop motion animator listening, reach out,
Please.
That would be cool though.
I mean, that'd be pretty fun. I want to try all forms, like making a movie in different mediums.
Like when Brad and I made the Christmas thing we did, you know,
That was
which
pretty cool.
What was that? Christmas. It was like puppets and stuff, but it was kind of like
People
stop
thought it
motion.
was stop motion.
They did, yeah.
Yeah, that was.
I thought it was stop motion.
That was a blast though, because
Yeah.
it was kind of like getting to, I guess, experience what that's like a little bit without the painstaking like
Yeah.
inch by inch, frame by frame thing.
It still felt kind of painstakingly because I remember we had the set built,
Yeah.
but it was like raised up enough, and you're like manning the camera, and I'm underneath, and there's like this wire rod, and I'm like moving the head
Yeah.
of the astronaut, but it was like a weird contraption where it's like the chair moved, but then you also had to move the head of the astronaut.
Yeah, so the chair would move separate from the head, and yeah, he'd have to control each separately.
That's
Yeah.
smart.
And I'm just dollying.
there's a moment I remember Luke's like, "You're not getting it right. Let me try."
I don't remember.
Which I don't know if that was the take we went with, but it was so funny. He was like, "Get out here, let me test it out."
Did you do the camera dolly?
I think so.
Oh, okay, yeah. But it was cool because it was like a real camera move
Mhm.
within like this. I mean, the spaceship that we built
It was pretty legit.
It wasn't like tiny. I mean, because it was like as big as this soundboard back here. It was like it was made for watermelons. It was a giant box to
I
hold
remember
watermelons.
looking at the BTS for it, and that thing is massive.
Yeah, that thing took up my whole living room, and Carrie was like, "What are you?"
I think
doing?
Carrie was like, she was so gracious to let us do it in your living room, but man, it took up like a lot of the room.
That's why the spaceship for Holler was in the basement.
Yeah, that's why we got this house. We were like, it has to have a basement. It's got to have like a space to build spaceships and crazy stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because it used to be the living room all the time. We built a volcano in there.
Yeah.
We built for the rest of the set for that Christmas one was like a whole little snowy woodscape thing.
Dude, that was awesome too, because you like painted that backdrop, and then like we stole. There were like these pine trees.
It's just some limbs. It was just some limbs.
But man, I felt like we were some bad dudes. We were just like, we pulled up by this church, ran over to where the pine trees
stole
were.
from a church?
Oh no, dude!
It was off property. It was like in someone's gated house.
This was-
or
it
something.
was
So
God's
after you
came
broke
back.
into the church, you went into someone's
Exactly.
Gated home.
gated property.
So it was like sticking out from the gate. We cut it.
Stole
and
their
it was just, like,
landscaping.
enough. And we
I
just
probably walked
backed
out
up.
and just saw the stump and was like, "What?"
well, we're on that main road going to Cleveland.
Don't tell them where it was.
There's so many Clevelands in
Yeah.
the United States. It could be anywhere.
Yeah.
Cleveland, Georgia, obviously.
It was literally like twigs though that we took.
Yeah.
But we used them to look like little like
Trees.
like pine trees. That's the word I'm looking for. But what was the coolest part was the character was attached to the camera. So we had like a dolly, the dolly slider. We used that, and we had a well, I don't know how to describe this, but it was like kind of like a stick coming out from it, almost like a diving board coming out from that. So the character was attached to the camera. So when the camera moved on the slider, so did the character. And it was cool because it could bounce kind of.
Is that how you got him like running or whatever?
Right.
And stuff? Oh,
And
that's
all we
cool.
would do would be like move the head. So it would be a different body, because there was the body for when he's in the ship, and then there's the body for when he's running with
Yeah.
the tree.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Think smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just move the head over. The head was a light bulb.
That makes a lot of sense. Just painted. I
Yeah,
guess?
just painted to look like a helmet.
Oh.
And then there was the alien that was chasing him. We did the same thing. We just stuck it on. It was and then you just cut between them.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't in the shot together ever. They were just cut back and forth. They're both running, the same direction.
It definitely like looked like stop motion though.
And
like,
then like the set for that was only like as long as this table, a little longer. So, it was like maybe 8 feet, 6 feet long, whatever. And we just reused it over and over, like it was running.
It was like my office table.
Yeah.
Or desk table.
Yeah.
you know what probably attributed to like it looking like stop motion was the frame rate. Like because it was like
Or the
had that-
shutter.
Yeah, the shutter speed.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know if it was very
depends.
high because we were inside. Because it would have been probably lower due to not having enough. We weren't outside with a lot of light.
True.
But I mean, if it's possible, yeah, it's possible. That's a good idea though. It could almost make stuff look like stop motion by cranking up the
Yeah,
shutter speed.
because it gives it that robotic look.
Yeah.
So like, you could probably pull something off like that.
I kind of like that look sometimes.
I do too. It's kind of iconic.
We did it for a long time, not realizing what we
Yeah,
were doing. But now
Someone
we
was
know.
like, "Hey, have you tried a what is it?
ND filter?
ND filter."
Yeah.
We're like, "No."
Hey,
Never.
rules are meant to be broken.
yeah.
Yeah. Or never been learned.
We just never learned them. We
Yeah.
broke them. Now we know them, and now
You can break them again.
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
choose. We choose when we want to break them now.
exactly.
Like when we're shooting in slow motion outside, we always break
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
because it's easier to do that way. My back hurts from kayaking.
Oh.
It'd be like that.
I went up the river this weekend. Man, was it an adventure. Had a lot to tell you guys. I just didn't tell you earlier.
Was I spot on?
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh.
I had a feeling you were messing with
I
them.
really wish I did, though. That would be hilarious. It was a good trip, but nothing insane happened.
What if you like stopped off at like one of the like nearby like little islands or whatever, and then found like a secret underground like bunker?
Well, speaking of that, I did. So
Find an underground bunker.
No, like we were talking about Lost
Okay.
when we got there because I I forget what it was. We were talking. I said something. I equated somebody to being like the others. Maybe it was because it was like another group going or whatever, and we were talking about the others on Lost. Then when we were going up the river, we saw what looked like kind of like some sort of entrance to a bunker, but it literally looked like kind of like a porta potty, but like really nice, like had stairs going up into this weird, and I guess it's, I don't know what it is. It's
the
obviously
nicest porta potty in town.
Yeah,
It is what you thought it was.
Somebody has a really nice porta potty, but it was like metal, you know. So it was this weird like little room out in the woods, and I was like, you go in there and it's going into an underground bunker like on Lost.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know what it was, but it was cool.
Oh, that's kind of like the thing. You've been in the Indian Seeds, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, that cave that's like halfway up that has like the iron like bars or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to like go in there because it looks like a monster cave or something.
Dude,
or
we
like
should
this.
we should film something there.
I think so too because it's really cool.
Have
But
you ever seen that?
I have a
I've
picture
hiked
of
the
it.
Indian seats, but
There's like a cave with. He's right.
I've
It's
actually got a picture on my phone because I took one of it before.
like there's.
I have a
literally-
picture ready right now. I've
That'd
been
be,
waiting for
that'd be
this.
so weird.
No, I was going through my pictures the other day and actually like found it and thought it was cool.
I was going through and actually
Throwback.
I found it and favorited it so I could find it really fast to show you.
I've been waiting for this moment.
Well, there it is. Right, that's it.
Yeah, I mean that's
Let
it.
me see.
No, it's fine. I didn't
Sorry.
want to show you mine.
Sorry,
That's cool.
but yeah,
Hey, that
like,
looks pretty creepy.
we could totally film. It reminds me of that show.
The only
on,
problem
Netflix.
It
is
reminds
like,
me of the Droving, man.
Yeah,
yeah.
it reminds me. There's a show called. Was it Dark? Is that the one that was that foreign show on Netflix that I watched and I listened to it without subtitles with like
You
the
listen to it dubbed.
dubbed. Yeah, it was so weird.
Dubbed, not subbed.
But that cave is like maybe 2/3 like of the way up. So
Uh-huh.
like we'd just have to hike all the gear up there.
I'm out.
Yeah. Never mind.
Pass.
Can you just CGI
At least
that?
let's not do it right now, man. It's so hot outside.
Yeah.
Let's do it in the winter, in
Yeah.
the dead of winter,
Dude.
when it's freezing.
What if it was like covered in snow and so then it's just like pure white around
what
the
if?
cave and then it's just the cave and you like push it and that'd be cool.
Yeah. What's the story?
That's it.
There is no story.
Oh, it's just a shot.
It's experimental. It's my experimental film.
It's just
Dude,
one shot.
That's like the biggest
It
cop
says
out for
directed
people.
by
that-
Ellis Treese. And it's just a slow push in on
Yes.
this cave.
It's supposed to mean whatever you think it means. We should make a film about cop outs in film.
Oh, that's a good idea.
That's a good idea.
Nobody steal that.
Dude, Ellis sent me the funniest meme. Did you send it
I sent it to Luke, too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, I thought me and you
Yeah,
had
you thought you
something
had
going
special,
on.
but no. What was it? Which
it was
one was it?
what? Which one?
I've sent you maybe 2 things ever on Instagram.
See,
It's
I send you guys stuff, but it sends it separately, so it's usually going to both of you.
Dude, you send it. What you do is send stuff from the Sozo Bear account.
I've done that like
and
twice.
then and then I'll reply to it, and then we all get notifications.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh.
But usually I'll send it anything I see, and it goes to.
But,
Can you send it as a group on
I don't
Instagram?
think so because I sent
yeah,
it to
you
y'all
can make a
separately.
group.
Okay.
You
Well,
can make a group.
Oh, okay. But what was the one you were talking about?
It was like the guys shaking hands. It's like
Oh,
audiences,
so
and then
good.
it's like the director, and then the little
It was
girl.
the little girl's like,
I
The
we
rest
we
of
got to
the
put
film
that
crew.
on
yeah,
here.
I'll throw it up there.
That
It's
was
pretty
so
funny.
funny.
I thought it was pretty spot on.
I like was dying laughing. That was yesterday. I showed it to my dad. I was like, "This is so funny because it's very true."
Dude, it really is.
And like the kid looks so stunned, like just like like
Because she's in graduation attire. Obviously, she graduated like
So proud.
kindergarten or something,
she's just reaching out to nothing.
and someone's congratulating the dad.
Such
Yeah.
a funny
Dude.
photo, dude.
But I feel like that's unfortunately pretty spot on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I try to be self-conscious about that, of not being like, oh, us get all the attention for all the work that we do, and more so
Dude.
it's like it's the cast and crew.
It's funny. It's just the way
Yeah.
it is. But like it's like if you go to a film festival
Yeah.
and like no one this happened at Dragon Con, I was like I went there to support us and I'm not the director or anything and I'm like the only one there
And
to
people
talk
don't
about the
care.
film. They don't care. Yeah. You have to be the director that's talking up there.
Yeah. Did they ask you about like visual effects or anything?
No, they only asked about the intro because by that point we had a full room. All the movies ended and everyone was gone except like 5 people.
Oh wow.
Which is the other thing that happens at film
I
festivals.
have a question for not your movie.
Yeah, people
Dude,
sometimes bail at those.
Nothing's worse. Might get in trouble for saying this, but
Nothing's worse.
no, that's a little bit of a hyperbole. But I always think of like at the Macon Film Festival, and then it's like the room leaves, and I think it was like the last time we were there, and the only people asking questions was like my family.
Yeah,
You know, and it's just like,
yeah,
you
it's
know,
happened to us plenty of times.
It just is unfortunately what happens at film
Yeah.
festivals because people just want to see
Well,
the films and then they just leave.
The other thing is, if they're trying to make it to another block,
Mhm.
they
Yeah.
have to get out of there and go.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a downside of having a bigger festival and being spread out all over town is they got to run to the next
They got to
place.
book it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it was like at the Atlanta Film Festival when we went.
Yeah. I've never been to that one.
Yeah.
Dude.
Which is weird for us to say that.
I know that we've never been in it, so
That's
I've never
true.
been.
It was all right.
So you've done the 48-hour film fest?
Yeah, I've done
I've
it twice.
done one before.
They have it at the same place? Was it like the 48-hour film project or whatever?
I just worked on a project. I didn't go to a
Oh, okay.
screening.
Well,
I think I worked like one day. I was a sophomore in college.
Oh, so you were just like helping somebody who was
I was
part
doing
of
grip work.
yeah.
Gotcha.
I mean, it was all right. I mean, I don't really like doing the 48-hour film thing anymore because there's not really like, I feel like a benefit to it. It's just you kind of like kill yourself for 2 days straight to
Yeah.
go watch some like thrown together like movies. It's a cool idea and it's like, I mean,
think it
it's
really
fun
helps.
the first time. It's doing
yeah.
it again. You're like, I
I
don't want
think
to do this
you
again.
also have to be at a certain point in your career, right? Like,
Yeah.
You gotta be starting out, or
If you're in college or like you're trying
Yeah.
to break out, it's a great thing to do.
Yeah.
But for people that like work in the industry, it doesn't make really any sense.
Or
to-
like if we were to try to do something like that as an experiment to put on YouTube, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Then it would
Yeah.
make sense because it's something that we could benefit from and content
and
we
I
could put
guess
out.
it's people look at it the same way, right? That they can be like, oh, I'm doing this and it's going to help me out, you know, fill in my reel. But yeah, I just agree with you, man. It's one of those where I don't want to kill myself
Yeah.
making a movie when I could
It
be
takes
putting
the
more
fun-
time into it.
And it's
you
not
know?
going to be a good movie.
no,
most likely.
because it's only 2 days, and it takes the fun out of making movies because then you just are really pissed off.
And maybe there's
tired.
people who love that. I don't know.
It's not
Because
good.
it's like the people I worked with, they were out of Dawsonville, and they weren't like only. It wasn't like they were film students. You know, they had a production company.
I mean, some of these people have done some impressive 48-hour films,
Yeah.
though. There are some pretty good ones.
these guys used their connection. It wasn't. Or I don't think it was the one I worked on, but it was a previous year one, and they were telling me how they had a friend who had either he owned a helicopter or knew a guy that owned a helicopter, so they got like helicopter.
That's
footage,
nice.
Yeah, which was pretty
Wow.
cool.
The one I did, I was there for pre-production and writing. I was there the entire day on set, actually like filming, cam opping, and then I edited the whole thing. So like
Yeah.
I was up for like the full
Wow.
2 days without sleeping. That was rough.
Yeah, the project
don't
I
wanna
worked
do it
on,
again.
the sound guy was also the editor, so he'd be like holding the boom pole all day.
Yeah.
Then he'd like stay up all night editing
Oh,
and
man.
then
Dude, it's
do it
rough.
over again.
So rough.
What about a 24-hour?
No, hard pass.
That's what we start. Let's start a 4-hour film festival.
No, you know what we should do is
No-hour film festival?
if we ever had like some more people that were following us, we could yeah. Sorry, that sounded terrible.
Hey.
But I'm just saying, if we had enough people that would be willing to do like film challenges where you just give them like a
yeah.
month, and then you give them parameters like theme, like we want you to make this like 80s style movie,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
and it has to have these certain things. You have a month to do it and see what people like
Are
submit,
able to
and
do.
then you, I don't know, send them a prize or something if they win. That'd be like a pretty cool challenge.
No winners this year, huh? We get to keep the brand new.
No, it'd be cool if it was like a piece of
Aria
like
Alexa.
film gear though,
Yeah.
and like you're handing something out.
Yeah. You have to have sponsors, I guess.
Yeah, you would have to have sponsors that were paying for like the prize and stuff for
Yeah.
sure. But
Yeah.
it'd be neat.
That would be neat.
That's
That
pretty
would be
neat.
neat.
I was gonna tell you something. I forgot. Let's see. Because after we were talking about kayaking.
You're like, actually, I'm dying.
We found the cave.
I can't remember. Oh, the cave?
Did it have to do with the cave?
No.
Okay. Lost.
Yes. No. No.
Dang it. I was like, yes.
Oh, speaking of Lost, J.J. Abrams, you got to check out that show. What's it called? Lovecraft Country? Yeah.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
I thought you were just going to end it on that. You got to check out that show.
Speaking of Lost, let's get lost.
I do want to see that show though because I really
That
like
trailer looked good.
the trailer looks
It's cool.
good and I like all the monsters and stories from like H.P. Lovecraft.
Have you read any H.P. Lovecraft?
I mean, only like some of the main ones, but
I mean, that's more than I've never read any.
I've never read it.
Cody had like the full book whenever we used to live together that had like
Uh-huh.
all of H.P. Lovecraft stories, and I would just like kind of skim through it and just look at it every now and then. It's pretty cool.
How many books do you think you've read your entire life?
I read a lot when I was a kid. I haven't read anything in a long time, but when I was a kid, dude, I have my AR story. I told you guys
Yeah.
about it before with like the limo and everything.
Uh-huh.
So pissed, but I read so much in elementary school.
Your what story?
So
Accelerated reader.
yeah, so
yeah.
the AR. I'll tell everyone else, I guess. But in class, we had a thing in like the 5th grade. And it was AR reading. Everyone had to do it. You had to like read a book and then take a test, and you got points awarded in the AR system based on how many questions you got right on the book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so at the end of the year, they gave you the top male and female reader of your grade and all the other grades a limo ride to go out to eat somewhere at a really nice restaurant.
Oh, that's a sweet deal.
Yeah. And so like
Totally worth it.
As a kid, you're like, yes.
in the 5th grade, I was like, I'm getting this limo ride this year. And so
You get to pick the restaurant?
no.
Dude, what if they just took you
didn't
through
go
the
that far.
drive-through of McDonald's in a
Yeah.
limo? I mean, as a kid, I think you would still be like, yes.
Yeah,
No,
you'd be
it was,
like, I'm
it
Richie
was a
Rich.
nice restaurant. And this is how I know, because I went through and I was in first place the entire year with my best friend, Spencer, right behind me by
Yeah.
like 1 or 2 points the entire year. We were going back and forth.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
And he cheated. I cheated too, but he
Spencer.
cheated more. So
Spencer.
at
How
the
did you cheat?
I would not read the full book sometimes and just take the test and get as many points as I could on the thing. And like I would try to look up the answers like on the side, or if someone else who had read the book, I'd have them stand next to me while I took the test and feed me answers.
They're
think-
like,
you think they
not
can,
B.
Can they retroactively revoke this prize you won now all these years later?
I didn't win the prize, but
Oh, what?
okay. So
Yeah, that's the.
at the end of the year, I was in first by like 5 points or whatever, and then the library closed, so I couldn't rent out any more books. But Spencer got like 8 books right before they closed and just hoarded them, and then took like 8 tests back to back and beat me by like 2 points, and then got the limo ride. I was pissed,
Oh,
So
and
you
I was fuming at lunch.
Was the limo ride only one person could go? They couldn't bring a friend or anything like that?
No, it was male and female. So like the
Oh.
top male reader, top female reader.
I see.
And he came back. They all came back, and they were talking about how awesome of a lunch they had.
And
What
now,
if it was something
now
like
he's married to that
Yeah, I
girl.
was about to say when he met his future wife when that, and you're just like so upset because you're like, I just wanted the limo ride.
All I wanted was the limo ride. But
Let's call Spencer
That's
now.
my- that's my
and
story.
Ask him
I
if he
haven't talked to
cheated.
Spencer in a lot. He graduated from UGA, I think, recently.
What if you really like you message him and you're like, "Hey, did you cheat on the accelerated reader thing?"
I mean, I know that like I cheated on some of them, and so I'm not gonna like bash him for that or anything.
What
He's a
books
good
did
guy.
you read?
I read, I think Harry Potter's like 1 through 4 or 5.
Okay.
I read as many Junie B. Jones books, as many Treehouse books as I
Okay.
possibly could. Goosebumps.
yeah.
And I was like speed reading these books to get through
Goosebumps.
them.
I was gonna say I was positive you had to have read a bunch of Goosebumps.
It was a lot of Treehouse and a lot of Goosebumps.
Yeah.
The
Magic Treehouse.
Magic Treehouse.
Yeah.
I got the scary stories to tell in the dark. There was 1, 2, and 3 of that.
Did you ever read any of Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, or any of those books? Chronicles of Narnia.
I did,
stuff?
but that was in like middle school.
Yeah, I was about to
in like
say,
6th grade.
I read some of those in middle school. I read The Hobbit
That's a big one.
in 5th grade. So I was doing the AR reading test. I think I did make it to the restaurant. We didn't get a limo ride though, but we went to Raphael's in Trenton, Georgia, which is the greasiest pizza you may ever eat in your life.
Oh, they took you for pizza.
No, I got like a Greek salad and like something like
Didn't
that.
even take advantage of the lunch.
He was wanting to feel fancy.
I have had plenty of Raphael's pizza, even up to that point in my life. Like,
so you were like, I'm going for something.
something different.
As a kid, though, that was like the pedestal of prizes.
Yeah,
you were like, this is something I'll never get to experience again in my life.
You know what felt like the pedestal of prizes is when they had the assembly in elementary school, and they're like, whoever sells the most cookie dough gets like this water slide party or something crazy.
Yeah, and you had to do all those fundraisers and
Yeah.
get all the money in the sales. Dude, yeah.
They would
I remember
always-
those.
Everything was always like a pizza party for like a reward. It seems
Yeah.
like.
Because pizza's cheap,
Dude,
man.
we had bomb
must be
parties.
Bombs?
No, we had awesome parties at the school and stuff. Like we had like a party room and stuff. Do you guys remember field day and like all the
Yeah.
fun
Yeah.
water activities
Oh
and stuff
yeah,
you got
yeah,
to do?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
could I finish my AR story
Yeah,
real
yeah,
quick?
go ahead.
Okay, so I read The Hobbit in 5th grade. I didn't really understand what I was reading, but I read the book, and even though I probably got maybe a 70 on the test, I still got tons of points because it was worth so much more
Yes.
than like anything else.
I was gonna
so I
ask.
agree with Ellis. It's like if you read the big books, then you were getting like tons of points no matter what.
Yeah.
Even if you only got a 70, because you could just like farm points that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
I was
dumb.
wondering because it was like, if it's based on how many books you read, or if it's a bigger book like that, it has to be more
It
important.
was
Yeah.
based
I was
on your
dang, dude,
grade
that'd take
level.
you forever.
So they
Yeah.
classified books by grade level.
Oh, yeah,
and
that's
and if I was in 1st grade and I read a 5th grade level book, I got like 5 times the amount of points.
Yeah.
So I just went and like looked up all the 5th grade
Which
books,
is funny.
and then just like took and just
'Cause
started like
there were
reading.
guys in my 5th grade class that didn't understand that, so they were reading like Grandma and Me, you know, those books with like the porcupines,
Yeah.
going to the beach, and they would only get like a point for it, and they're like, yeah,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm
because
like over here is like
they
50
could read
points.
it in 10 minutes.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just got 50 points from Harry Potter, just the first book.
Dude, I completely forgot about all that stuff. Oh, you remember the bookmobile?
I
don't
think we had
a
that
book.
once.
We never had that.
Bookmobile was like the coolest
The
thing
book
ever.
fair always was in our library. They would like set
Yeah.
up shop
Dude,
there.
they did that sometimes, but as a kid, man, all these books, you would go into like what was essentially like a bus, or it wasn't very big though. They had, so like really only kids could kind of go in and out of it easily.
It's only this
Yeah,
wide.
yeah, and it was like the coolest thing because when you're a kid, you're like, this is like magical. You can go into like this bus and there's rows of books on
Yeah.
either side. It was like a library on wheels, which just blew my mind as a little kid, but it was pretty cool.
Yeah, dude. The book fair was just a banger in general because you got to get out of class one day and just like
Yeah.
go into this room that was just filled with books. The cheat code books for like games and stuff. That was always a like confirmed buy.
See, I always remember buying a bunch of erasers that were probably the worst possible erasers to use,
Like those
but they
pink-
were like
Big pink ones that were.
not even those, but like I had one that was in the shape of a robot.
Oh,
you know?
yeah, that's
So
right.
it's
Those
like
were
these
terrible.
really decorative or
They're
like
rubbery.
a diamond. Yeah, but they're rubbery.
They
but
don't
it's
really
like
erase anything.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I probably still have some at my house that have never been used because hardly
work,
been used
or the
because
head
you
would
use
rip
it
off or
once. And,
something.
yeah,
They make a worse mess than if you just scribbled it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking
Or
about.
like the pens that could erase themselves and you would just smear
Yeah.
ink everywhere and you're like, you're like this doesn't work at all.
Hey, did you guys
I feel like that's just like the bookstore. At least the accessory stuff would be like the R&D stuff for these pen companies and pencil companies. They're like, oh, we'll test this out, and they're like, oh, it doesn't work. I guess we'll ship it to the bookstore.
Yeah. Did you guys have like a school store? Is that what you're talking about? Where it would be like
We would have that sometimes.
this tiny
Yeah.
little they had like this tiny little area that was like a school store, and you could buy erasers and like different stuff like that. But it wasn't like the library.
We didn't have that.
No, I
was
remember
strange.
something like that. I feel like it would be like there one year, gone the next,
Yeah.
then back, and then it never felt like a consistent thing.
So you were talking about field day, right? Is that the same thing? Did you do like the Olympics? Did y'all have like Olympics?
We had
that
like
once.
different sections set up where there was like water sports and then other sports, and like you would go through and like your class would go against the other classes,
So is
and
it-
like you would compete with
That's
your,
field day.
yeah.
Did you do something where they would do like Olympics, like a separate thing? I remember us doing like the Olympics,
Yeah.
and it would, or they call it like the Olympics, but it was like, yeah, you'd go through and do a bunch of crazy. Sometimes it was water stuff. Sometimes it was like,
We did like, you remember the boards where you sit on them with the handles, and like you would like have
Yeah.
to race super fast, like using your feet to
Uh-huh.
drag you across like the pavement, and there's like water and stuff like being
Yeah.
sprayed at you. That was like what we did.
because like here's the thing I remember the most was we had Olympics T-shirts, right? So you whatever team you're on, you'd wear like the red shirt or the blue shirt, and everyone always
That's cool.
signed each other's shirts on the back.
I do remember signing shirts.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
yeah.
One time, I'm sitting there on the bleachers in the like football stadium bleachers or whatever outside. Everyone signs shirts and stuff, but I'm wearing like an actual shirt of mine. This kid just starts writing on my back.
Oh,
Dude, I went bananas. I was like, what? And it was like one of my favorite shirts because my dad had all these old cool vintage shirts from when he was in the radio business. It was like one of those. And I guess I was probably old enough, like maybe 8th grade. I was old enough to be like caring about like style, kind of like
Yeah.
I was wearing like thrift store shirts because they were cool. Well, this was one of those shirts that was like a one of a kind. I'm not going to be able to like, it's like my dad's old radio like
yeah,
station.
you can't go back
Yeah.
to like the
And it
Gap
was like,
and buy it.
It was like the baseball tee type style. Like it'd be a different color
yeah.
sleeve. So it was like a cool
Oh,
shirt.
yeah.
And now it has this kid's name on the back. And I was so mad.
to remember me by.
Yeah, I know he had to have done it just to be mean or something. Like, why would he do that? He knows I'm not wearing one of the shirts. So he just writes his name on my back.
Here's to you, Luke Pilgrim.
Oh, man, I wish I could even remember. I bet I could find that shirt at my parents' house, probably.
I know I have like a field day hat from first grade
Yeah.
in my childhood bedroom that I could probably still fit on my head.
Yeah.
Did you
How
guys?
small my
Brad's
head
head has not grown since the first grade.
Did you guys like ever go and like cook s'mores and stuff in the middle of the day?
That's skipping class.
is. What?
Our teachers sometimes would just be like, "Hey, you guys want to go out?" And there was like a little campfire area in the back of the school, like past the playground.
His,
and
his teacher was a
and we
drug
would-
addict, and they were just trying to get the kids out of their rooms so they could do drugs.
No, they would come with us, but they would like just cook s'mores with us.
Hey, Miss So-and-so, why are you holding a spoon over the
Yeah.
fire?
Hey, go make your s'mores, okay? In the closet. I'm in the supply closet, kids. Make your s'mores.
Dude, I miss elementary school. There was like such pure memories.
Dude, that's why you gotta like marry a teacher. Then you get to experience school things.
No, you don't.
forever. No, that's true. I guess you don't.
You
You'd
could
only-
be like Billy Madison.
You go back to school.
We'll
That would
give
just be
you
weird.
we'll give you a week off, man.
Yeah, if you want to go experience
That would just be weird.
middle school.
Nah, maybe the next life. I got it. We'll just do another
take
run
you-
through.
We'll,
Hey,
we'll
dude.
take you down to Lumpkin County Elementary and be like, "This is Ellis. He's
No, dude, Robinson is the true elementary school. Never
Dude,
never
no.
have another one.
How funny would this be? Ellis goes through like K through 12 again, and each day we get like a kindergartner to do his job, a first grader. You know, it's like we're moving up, and it's just a different
Yeah.
random kid, and we document.
Man, I would like be so competitive with the kids. Like when we take a test, be like, man, I just schooled you on this test.
It's like you're picking shapes and stuff.
it. How,
It's for circle,
do you-
dummy.
do you feel like all the way up through high school you would still be like smarter than all the kids, or do you feel like
Oh,
there's a
dude.
grade that
No way.
that it's
No.
like you've forgotten
Not in
so
high
much?
school.
As soon as you get like to maybe 7th or 8th grade, you're
Yeah.
gonna start hitting roadblocks
Yeah,
on like stuff that you remember.
Because especially if you're like the honors classes or something, 7th, you start hitting those math classes.
Oh,
Yeah.
you'll get
I would
wrecked.
I'd be done, dude.
Yeah, because you'd have to know the formulas.
I can't remember anything from school.
Did I ever tell you guys how I broke my wrist?
Did you wear a wrist brace for any amount of time?
It was a cast.
You're fired.
All right.
Thank you for saying it, so I didn't
I
have
took
to.
care of it for you.
I'm just.
In fourth grade, I was playing football out in recess, and my friend Jeremiah came up and like hit me and like stiff armed me, and I went back and my hand hit the ground and stayed in place, but I did a full 360 spin with my hand in the same place.
What?
Yeah, so my wrist was completely cut right here. Like I was disconnected from the bone completely.
It was your right hand? Oh, your left hand.
No, it was my left hand.
Oh, that's your main hand.
I know. So
It sucked.
it was cool though because once I had the cast or whatever, it came to CRCT, and I couldn't like write any of the answers or bubble in the stuff, and so the teachers had to do it all for me. So they bubbled in all my answers during CRCT. I just told them what I wanted, and then I got a free homework pass for having the neatest bubbles on the CRCT. It was the teacher's bubbles.
I just imagine you taking this test and you're like, I'm thinking B, and she's like,
That's what
and then you're like, actually C, and she's like,
Yeah, I literally thought you were about to say the teachers gave you the answers.
No, but I mean the test was pretty easy.
she's like, are you sure, Ellis?
That's what I used to get.
So because of some woman's bubbling in, you got
I got a free homework pass because she did the bubbles and they were the neatest, and so she gave me a
That's
free
so
homework
funny.
pass.
Wait,
maybe she just felt bad because I had a broken wrist.
She gave you the pass?
Yes.
And she filled them in? So she
Yes.
literally just was like, I had the neatest bubbles.
Yeah.
What? Oh, wait. Dang, I just forgot what I was about to tell you. We were talking about something. Oh, I had a good thing.
CRCT
No, yeah, it was about testing. Oh, no, it was about the Spanish class when my teacher used to give me the answers because I was so bad.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
When
we
was this?
cheated in
This
class.
is high school, and I was just so I would have like failed the class.
You
for
were like,
real.
como se dice?
Yeah. I was like, she was like, just stay after, like she let me take the test like verbally, orally instead of like writing it down. So she just asked me stuff, and I'd be like, soy de, and she's like, yeah, and then she just like give me the answers, and then she gave me a passing grade because of that.
Dude, she probably just felt bad. She's like, this is Spanish class.
Yeah, I was so bad at it.
Is that when you knew Carrie was the one when she was struggling in college Spanish? You were like,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
This is it.
Surprisingly, in college, I did better, but I didn't learn anything in high school because, like, I didn't have. I mean, she just helped me. She helped me get through,
They're
but I
like-
didn't learn any Spanish.
they're like soon to be rock star Luke Pilgrim. We can't halt his.
Yeah, they were like,
halt
look,
his-
he's
like-
got a promising
his-
music career.
His
we
road
can't-
to stardom.
You're like the football jock or whatever
Yeah.
that's like getting the free pass
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you play for the team.
Dude, it was hilarious. Sometimes she would just let me leave and go to the art room, and
Yeah.
I would just draw in there because
Nice.
In my senior year, I had 2 art
He's
classes
like,
a day.
I gotta work on my emotions.
Yeah, I was
Can I
like-
go to the art room? And she's like,
Whatever.
I was like, I gotta get in touch with my emotions today. Can you let me go? Yeah, it was terrible, man. I didn't learn any Spanish, but she helped me get out of high school at least.
Dude, this might take us a little long, but there's one more thing I wanted to talk about from school.
All right.
Like in the
Okay.
school days.
Do it, and then we gotta wrap it up.
Okay. Did you guys ever have like different ways to like cheat in high school? Because
did.
like
Okay,
I had,
hold on. Let me answer this for Brad. No, he never cheated a freaking day in his life.
dude, I had like
Carry on.
thank you for
I had
talking for me.
the most clever ways to cheat in high school and middle school. Like we slowly became
Oh, so
professionals
now
at
it
it over
just
time.
moved back to middle school. He's like, hey, did you ever cheat in high school?
No.
Because I cheated in elementary school,
No.
Kindergarten.
pre-K.
And like it was in 8th grade when we started 7th and 8th grade, and then from we started
like
6th grade.
we started
Sixth grade.
cheating there, and then we
Fourth.
got
Okay.
better and better at it.
Okay.
But
Tell us.
so like in Spanish class, we first started in middle school by like throwing our pencil across the room towards the teacher during the test, and then we'd walk over because she had the answer key and be like, I dropped my pencil.
Wait, okay. And she'd be like,
She didn't know.
She didn't care.
wow. So and so you'd walk
She was
by.
just counting down to 4 o'clock or
Yeah,
something.
she's
Like, I gotta get out
I
of
gotta
here.
get out
So
of
you
here.
walk by, you could see it on the desk.
Yes,
and you
because
would
she's
just
like
go,
grading as like the tests were turned in, and we would just like see the key, just get the answers, and just take turns doing that.
wow.
And
What else?
later on, so like in classes that were like easy, I wouldn't cheat.
Yeah.
But if it was like if it was AP physics, AP physics was really hard, and our teacher was terrible.
Did you cheat on the AP test?
No, someone actually like sneezed and got kicked out of the room.
So your AP test results were not indicative of how you were in that class then.
Yes. So my AP test was not.
So you might have got the teacher fired.
I got like a 2 on like the AP test for AP Physics because I cheated through the whole class. But I had different ways. So like at first I would be like,
Yeah.
I need to go to the bathroom because I had the study guide on my phone and I would just
there's
look
a
through
guy.
the study guide.
I knew a guy who
right?
did that.
Then the second time was the water bottle trick where like you print the answers on a water bottle on the label,
Yeah.
fold the label back around and glue it, and then you can see it on your water bottle.
Yeah.
The third time was wearing a watch and then actually having the answers like on your wrist, like taped on your wrist and covering it up with a watch.
Yeah.
And then in chemistry, I would go into the class early because my teacher was always 5 minutes late, and they had those black top tables, and I would write all the formulas in pencil so you could hardly see it on the table.
Right.
And then just cover it with my paper.
Yeah.
And so then I would just like slide the paper over when I needed the formula so I could just look at it and yeah.
Okay, here's a question. I know you've stated before you don't want to have kids, but let's say you have a kid.
Okay.
Going through.
Living in a world that will never happen, but okay.
Okay, but
An accidental kid.
I'll let them know from the get-go.
But they're going through school. Are you okay if they get caught cheating?
Yes.
So you're like, I did it. It's okay.
Yes.
Little Ellis, you're good.
I'll actually be proud of them for the ingenuity, and I'll ask them how they did it because I want to know.
But they got caught.
Well, then they're not trying hard enough, and I'll tell them how to do it the right way.
You'll teach them how to cheat the right way.
Yes. Because Andy, you remember Andy.
Yep.
He came into the class the same day I wrote all the formulas on the blacktop.
Yeah.
He had in highlighter, I don't know why, all the formulas
On his arm?
in yellow highlighter.
Oh, no.
And the teacher like caught him and like for 10 minutes he was like, Miss Graham, just give me a hug. It's okay. And he's like, just no, it's okay. Just have a hug, it's fine.
Okay,
And like they just had this back and forth for like 10 minutes and she just was like, whatever. It just went back up.
Wow.
Okay, here's another question. Do you feel like cheating through tests and stuff has paid off later in life for you?
Yeah.
Good life lesson?
Yeah, I mean, I got a 4.0 when I left school. That was pretty cool.
But you cheated.
Only on classes that were hard. So if
Well-
it's like AP Physics or like chemistry, I was like, I'll cheat on this one. But if it's like history or math, it wasn't too bad. So I just studied on those and took the test.
I mean, you got you from point A to point B.
Yeah.
You were able to get
Exactly.
into college. You got a job out of college. It's working out pretty well
It,
for
it
you.
actually teaches you how to be creative, how to think smarter and not harder. Why take all the time to like study these formulas and just go nuts and waste all your time doing that when you could play video games and and enjoy your life in high school and then just take the test and get an A?
I mean, my parents did tell me life isn't fair, and this is the
This is it
prime
right here,
example
dude.
of it.
Life isn't fair, man. You could put all the effort in.
You just
and
got to
things
think of
turn out
a
great.
workaround and you're fine.
I got a nice piece of paper that says how smart I am, and that's about it.
Yeah, and he got that too.
Yep.
Oh man.
That's funny. All right.
Well, let's end this episode, and I'll beat Ellis up.
All right. See you guys next week.
See ya.
See ya.